Welcome back, guys. Today is episode 4 of the IS300 Turbo, I guess NAT, GTE, whatever you want to call it. Um, just trying to make some progress. I'm extremely tired, huge lack of sleep with twin babies, and my wife let me have some time here, but I just want to get you guys caught up. There's been a lot behind the scenes that has happened, and I apologize I didn't video most of it, but it's kind of a collective thing that probably would have just made single episode. So I'm going to show you guys kind of what has happened, changed. It's where we left off was we removed the head and I took the head off. Huge shout out to M&B Cylinders, Brian. He's a one-man shop and he does amazing machine work, and so he took the head and actually turnaround was very quick. So I'm going to show you guys kind of things I've used, things I've come across here, but it's reverse order of the head removal install. I did Arp Studs. I'll show you guys here there's the part number. Came with the studs, nuts, washers. Super freaking awesome. I've never actually used them before, so that was actually really cool. Learn how to use those, and the torque sequence was 30, 60, 80 as the final, and Brian that machined the head told me do not go over 80. Things will crack, things aren't gonna be happy, don't do it. So I've seen some videos and some guys were like, we'll go 90, we'll go a little bit more. I'm gonna stick to people who know what they're doing. No offense to the other ones out there that said go higher, but 30, 60, 80. Same torque sequence as removal, spiral, get it all nice and even flat. Same thing with the cams, got the cams in. A few other things I want to show you guys just because the factory head bolts are that 10 millimeter bihexagon socket. So with ARP, it is a 1/2 inch nut and it's a 12 point, and you need to have a very thin wall socket, otherwise it will not fit down in there. So I'm going to show you guys kind of what I came across here. As I have two sockets here, 12 point. The chrome one was actually thinner wall than the, I don't know what you call it, just regular socket. And I mean, it's not much, but it's enough that I could not get this black socket down in the hole. So the chrome one was just a skosh smaller, and it's one of those that it just makes me laugh that it's, with the bihexagon 10 millimeter, clearly you just need to use that socket and there's enough length, and so there's really no point of machining or making a bigger hole. But Brian, when he machined the head, he did make a little bit extra clearance because he said that it is tight and he knew it was going to be an issue getting a socket in there. And I thought I had a socket, but I ended up, it's actually a DeWalt 1/2 inch chromey semi-deep socket. Worked freaking awesome. So if you're installing the ARP, I recommend this. Along with that, the studs go in by hand. It's got like a little Allen on top, and I just used the Allen and basically just turned it until it stopped by hand, and that was it. So put all the studs in before you install the head. Make sure that you put the washers in there, because you got to put the washers in at an angle because the opening isn't big enough for the washer to just plop on there. So if you drop the head on with the stud poking through, you can't physically get the washer on there. And it might be hard if you've never done or seen or dealt with, that you might not fully understand, but basically that is one of those things that you go to put it on and then you're taking it all back apart because you can't get it on there. It's one of those that I was told to do that, so I did it. Good advice, so I'm passing it along. Get the washers in there, drop the head on. I had my father-in-law came and helped me for a little bit. He was taking care of the babies, and my wife had gotten home, gave him a break. He came down here, helped me for a little bit. I just needed kind of a second person because I didn't want to have the head resting on the studs and like scratching the surface or do anything funky. So I had him kind of come over, help guide as I put it on there, and then got the nuts on there. And then they say with ARP to use their it's like a lubricant. I don't know, I might have thrown away the rest of what I had, but it's a lubricant. You put it on the washer surface mating to the head and the nut underside and on the threads a little bit, and you're basically coating it. And basically what that lubricant does is it allows it to not bind when you're tightening it, so it's not like a metal to metal grind, so it's not, you're getting a proper torque with that lubricant there, and it's allowing it to fully seat and be the proper torque measurement. And dude, I'm all about that. So made sure that was all good. One of those that I also noticed too with the head gasket, huge difference. This is a Victor Reigns multi-layer GTE head gasket, and you can see, I mean, there's some space. That's a thick gasket, and it was freaking awesome. Now, I pulled off the factory one with 223,000 miles, and it is like paper thin. I mean, and I'm blown away there. You know, the head gasket didn't blow or anything. Still all intact and tried and true to the Toyota product. I mean, pretty awesome. So just wanted to show you guys that. That's the difference between a GTE and a GE head gasket. Sorry, I'm getting back inside here. It's still sprinkling and raining. Good old Pacific Northwest. So GE, GTE head gasket difference, thickness. I did not buy the OEM one from Toyota because it is stupid expensive, and I had heard and seen that there was still some good things with the Victor Reigns head gasket. It is I think it's a German OEM supplier for BMW and maybe Volkswagen, I don't remember. So I know it's a good brand, but would I love to have a factory GTE one? But dude, the price of Toyota tech stuff lately is just going through the roof. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but to buy a JDM 2JZ GTE on a pallet used with a transmission out of an Aristo, they're way north of $6,000. And I remember beginning of this year they were $2,700. So once again, another reason why I'm doing this the way I'm doing it. So there's all those things. Oh, I was going to show you one more thing here. Put the sockets down. The oil pump. Now, the oil in that engine, don't really trust it. It didn't mix, but everything went through the turbo, and I don't know. The oil, I still haven't drained the oil too. I know in the very first episode or second episode, I was going to drain. I still never drained it because I've just had my mind going about 20 million miles a minute. So anyways, ASIN factory oil pump. So used to buying ASIN water pumps. Got it from Rock Auto. It's the same manufacturer that Toyota uses. You can see they even scratched out where Toyota was, and you can see there's the Toyota right there in the exact same freaking location. They scratched out. It is like a third, if not a quarter of the price off Rock Auto to buy an ASIN factory OEM supplier oil pump, water pump, any of those things. Rock Auto has some pretty good stuff that's like name brand stuff that Toyota uses, and this was like $78 shipped to my house. And I'm like, it's just cheap insurance. I want to make sure I have good oil pressure, make sure that's not a factor. I bought a I think it was a GTE factory OEM engine overhaul gasket kit, and wanted to use that because I know there's a ton of O-rings, just a ton of gaskets I didn't want to go searching for. So it was worth it to me to buy the overhaul gasket kit, and it was relatively reasonable. So I went ahead and bought that. So I have a ton of gaskets, like rear main, cam seals, crank seal, all the O-rings for the oil pump here, water pump, thermostat, valve cover gaskets. I mean, it's just literally everything. Even what came with like new dowels and all that stuff for like the transmission where it lines up on the back, came with everything new, and it just makes it freaking worth it. So I spend my money where I see the value, and yeah, I'm a little biased for working for Toyota and love the Toyota OEM stuff, and some things are just a little ridiculous, and I try to save my pennies where I can, especially with something like this. I told the wife and friends, if this don't work, I'm done. we're parting this thing out. This thing's gonna be done. I can't. This is the amount of money I've put into this thing. It's ridiculous. I'm never gonna see it. I know that even going into this, I'm never gonna see it back. But at a certain point, you gotta cut your losses. So there's no reason that none of this should work. I mean, this should be a flawless setup, and hopefully I've done enough research and, you know, organized everything to where it's going to be perfect, and I can hopefully get 500 of the wheels horsepower, and this thing will just be super awesome to drive, and I don't have to worry about anything. So now for the goods, probably what you're waiting for, and probably what I might even put in the thumbnail. Lo and behold, here is the hybrid 2JZ GE head VVTi on a GTE short block. You can see, no, it's too dark, but I mean, dude, Brian did an amazing job, amazing work, absolutely beautiful. So I got, as far as the head bolts, head studs with all the ARP stuff, everything's torqued, the cams, everything's dialed in. We're good. This was a huge headache that I was really dwelling and not sure what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. So because I live here in the Pacific Northwest, make sure you always have the bag the engine, everything, because anything that's steel, all this mating surface stuff, that'll rust with moisture. So keep it bagged, keep it sealed. Also, it just helps keep dust and debris out. I mean, engines, they got to be precise, and you know, you don't want any crap getting in there. So, man, this is beautiful. I'm freaking pumped, guys. If you weren't pumped, then I don't know what's wrong with you mentally. So I'm excited. This is going to help kind of get things going here, and I'm excited to get this old turd, whole engine and trans and basically everything out of the front here and get it all out of the way. And once I get that, then I can get the upper oil pan here, the under oil pan. I need the bolts for the new oil pump, you know, get all the AC, all that crap off, motor mounts, you know, crossover pipe for the coolant, just all these little accessory things and stuff that I need to get swapped off of this. So once I get this out, I'll get it on the ground, and then I can start swapping everything. But the other thing too is it's been freaking pouring down rain, and it's been hard to come over here to the storage unit when it's freezing cold and wet. So I'm doing what I can, and man, freaking pumped. So also too, I think I'm gonna try and polish the valve covers, kind of get them nice and shiny. I was gonna paint, but I don't know what color to paint. I've kind of just got a lot of black and silver in the engine bay here, and I mean, I'm gonna take my time and I want to make it look nice, but I don't know if I'm gonna paint anything. I kind of almost want to keep a lot of the aluminum look and just kind of shine things up. So yeah, I think that's going to be the game plan here next episode, is trying to get this old turd out of here. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. I know this is probably not the most exciting videos, but I'm at least going through the process and trials and tribulations that I'm going through, trying to get this thing back up and running. I mean, man, I miss this car. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It does help us out. We're trying to grow this channel, trying to get some cool projects going. Hopefully once this is done, we can move on to other cool things. I mean, it would be super cool if we get 500 horsepower out of this bad girl. So I'm excited. So hang tight. Thank you guys. I know I keep saying thank you, but I don't know what else to say. So we'll see you next episode.